We are going. Yes, finally. Welcome to My Safe Word Is More. My name is Al Jackson. I am joined by my lovely and talented co-host, Corinne Kaplan. How are you? I've been dying to talk to you.
Yeah. Well, I have to say this is always the highlight of every 5 days that we do this. This is all I care about.
Something to look forward to every week.
Yeah, it really is. I wanted to kick it off with, I don't know. I talked to my mom on the way here, and she's been telling me leading up to last Tuesday, she always pretends like I don't remember I have a full family. And my mother, her father is he had 5 sisters. And truthfully, Jews don't really have big families. I don't really know what happened there. It's a very uncommon thing. But
that is a big Jewish family.
Yeah, huge. But super wealth on that side. And all 5 sisters had multiple facelifts. I've talked about facelifts in the past. And they were beautiful, but the youngest one, who I always thought, no offense to the others, was the most beautiful, is my Aunt B.
That the others are going to take offense to that, but let's keep it moving. Yeah.
They're all dead. So
okay.
Aunt B was turning 100 last Tuesday. And my mother she goes, do you remember your Aunt B? And I was like, yeah, I don't have early onset. I know who I'm related to.
Shout out to Aunt B.
Yeah, so she thinks I'm too stupid to keep it straight. There were 5 aunts and they're her aunts, so they're my great aunts. Anyways, all right.
You refer to them as what's her face and the tall one? Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And so I knew B, her real name is Bashti, and they called her B, and she was just glamorous, super, super well off, and lived the richest life, just very charmed life.
Well, you have to when your name is Bashti.
Yeah.
You can't be in an efficiency. Oh, Bashti's in there. No, you got to have a wool rugs, sheepskin. Everywhere.
I mean,
marble.
She had a crazy mansion in Queens. She was a bad bitch. Okay. All right. So Aunt B's turning, my mother keeps telling me this, she's turning 100, which yes, that is a very big deal. So then I see that my family has
like that you reluctantly gave it up for it. Okay, I was 100.
Did anyone ask her how? And also, so my mom FaceTimed with her on Tuesday and sent me a picture. I was like, that bitch's face held up. She had 2 or 3 facelifts, but she looks the same as she did when she was 50, and this woman is 100 years old. Okay, so my family also begins texting me. Apparently, we're I think just on the cusp of not remembering this at all, and definitely our listeners won't know. I didn't know what this was. They're sending around a Smucker's Jam bottle with her face on it, and apparently it's an old thing they used to do on news stations. When you turned 100, you could write into the news station, and they put your face on Smucker's Jam because Smucker's Jam is 100 years old. I don't know how it doesn't age past. I don't know.
Is this a very current story you're telling?
I don't know. But my cousin Andy sends me the Smucker's Jam thing, and I'm like, what is with the jam? Did she? Because I think she really liked jam. And so
how she wanted to be remembered.
And I'm like, that bitch liked caviar. She did not give a shit about jam. So I'm on the way here, and my mom calls me for the 9th time with this fucking news, and she goes, Corinne, do you remember your Aunt B? And I was like, honestly, I'm gonna call a caretaker for you. Yeah, she turned 100, and then I ask her about the jam, and she tells me, and she goes, okay, well, I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not funny. So she goes, well, she died.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Jesus Christ! No, how is this supposed to go? It just was so unexpected. Not that she died at 100, but that my mother just launched the news after her. So she turned 100 on Tuesday, and Saturday she died in her sleep.
Oh, first of all, it's a great way to go out. The last thing you remember is I'm on the front of a jam bottle, and then you wake up and you're in heaven.
She was like, mic drop, I turned 100. Bye, bitches.
I have a lot of questions. First of all, your mom could have just led with that.
You would think.
Okay, and then if you don't know, then you go, wait, I'm sorry, who? And then she goes, Aunt B, the one that's 100. But you don't, you don't need to go through the Wikipedia of this person that you definitely know I know before you tell me that I don't need to know that anymore, because that's what a strange way to kick it off. Now, what was your mom's emotion? Was she more just dropping knowledge, or?
She was she goes, it's what, she said, she's what a charmed life she lived. And she always wanted to die at home in her sleep. And she had a 24-hour caretaker, and and so apparently that's what happened. I was like, what'd she die of? And my mom's like, old age? And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay. But I just like
At 100, there's no forensics.
No. Well, she said to me because there was no next of kin present and the caretaker found her, they like police and detectives have to come to make sure there's no foul play. I'm like, Jesus,
Yeah.
there's no foul play.
Yeah.
But anyways, just a little tidbit to kick us off today.
There we go. Hey, how about this?
R.I.P.B.,
We're gonna dedicate this show.
Yeah, to my Aunt B.
To Aunt B, the one that just turned 100. Shout out.
Then,
Yeah, my mom's new husband's mom. My mom kept saying we're gonna go see Montez's mom, and I'm like, y'all are in your 70s. What do you mean your mom?
Yeah.
His mom is 107
Jesus.
and like kicking it.
Yeah.
Like made it through COVID. I think she had COVID and like made
mean,
it. It's something. I feel like once you can get past 101, you can go for a while. Your 90s are when it's real dicey.
I was just like, did anyone ask her like how many gin martinis did she consume? Like, I'd like to use this blueprint. She's my genetics. Like,
Right. Oh,
no,
that's a good point.
Yeah. And my mom FaceTimed with her on last Tuesday. Like, she was FaceTiming. So, like, fully there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But while we're on the subject of facelifts, I have news.
Are you getting a facelift? You
No,
shouldn't.
I wish. No,
Don't.
I just need the bless. I always fuck the name up. The eyelid lift. Okay. So, you know how you announce your tour dates?
I do.
Okay. Well, I am announcing a very special tour date of my own. One of my very good friends here, who will leave nameless because I don't know how public she's being about this. She's about 10 years older than me. She is flying in to see a renowned plastic surgeon out of Missouri who has a crazy Instagram following. It is a year wait list to get in to see him, and he is stupid expensive. She's having a full facelift done, and I have already booked my flight. She has to stay for 10 days in St. Louis at a center across from where the surgery is being done, because they have to monitor her drains and whatever. For 10 days she has to recover. So I am spending a weekend. So I will have firsthand, and you know how obsessed I am with facelifts. I am going to have the most firsthand. And now I want to read to you. I want you to take a guess at what the going rate. Now, when I say going rate, this is probably way, way, way more expensive than a normal. I mean, it's very expensive. But I just am curious if you could give me a ballpark of what you think this is going to cost.
Okay, this is without insurance, but you're catering to a rich market.
Yeah.
I'm going to say $116,000.
Wow, that is weirdly close.
Is it?
Yeah.
That just came to me, I swear to God.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm going to break it down for you. So the total cost for her is $124,000.
I was going to say 124. That's
that would
crazy.
have been really weird.
Okay, that's real. I was like, no, that's too much. I think I was thinking about somebody's contract. So I was like,
yeah, I mean, that is wild. I mean, I actually told my parents, who were both like, that's highway robbery. Like, you can get it done, and you don't have to go to Mexico. Like, you can get a good surgeon to do it for $50. But this guy has this crazy Instagram following. So here is the breakdown. For a deep neck lift and deep plane facelift, that part of it is $80,000. Okay. For the brow lift, it's $20,000. And then for the thing I want, lower blepharoplasty and upper blepharoplasty, I don't know if I'm saying that right, are $15,000 each. I know, but I always
close
put this
enough.
up.
It's fine.
I know. So that is my story. I booked, it's in July. I will be going to St. Louis, and I will be monitoring the recovery of a dear friend who's having $124,000 worth of work done.
When you told me that you were flying in there, I thought you were trying the same technique that you tried when you got on the beach show on MTV, where you were just going to go and just show up. Like, I'm supposed to get a facelift too. And they're like, you're not on the list. Yeah, but check it again because it's wrong. And the next thing you know, I could see you bullying your way into a facelift.
I am thinking about getting the problem is a consult is $1,000. If you go forward with the procedure, they take the $1,000 off the $15,000 for.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, but I literally don't know how close I am to all I want is a little lift in my.
I wouldn't consult with somebody for $1,000 if they had all the answers.
I
don't care
so
if you will any answer to the universe. Nah, I'm good.
P.S. Her consult, the original one she did, over Zoom, 30 minutes, $1,000, and they pushed her into 120. I mean, they didn't push her. This is actually seemingly like I'll share on my Instagram, on my Safe Word is More Instagram, his Instagram information, so you guys can go and look. These before and afters, you can't even believe what you're seeing. I mean, they're taking 20, 30 years off these people. It's so natural looking. He does
until you tell him your favorite musical artist.
Well, until you're Donda West.
Yeah, and then you
don't make it.
Yeah, that or honestly, the thing is, everybody wants to look younger. You want to date younger people, but you forget that you're gonna hate being together because you're gonna be like, you know what? I really like one of my favorite old Khalees songs, and they're like, who? Like, you're not gonna like connect with these people in a way that you think. You're just gonna kind of walk amongst them a little bit, like in The Walking Dead when they put the fake blood on so they can walk through the crowd of zombies. That's how it is for us. Oh, I don't want to be around young people. Like, y'all go do your thing. But I mean, you don't need one. You're beautiful. I feel like you're in the you know where you are in your life. You're do a Lexus commercial.
Oh,
super high. Like, you are
the mature adult category.
No, the kind of woman that a rich guy would take to a polo event. That's what you look like.
I wish a motherfucker would. I mean, I haven't been to a polo event in like 5 years.
You should go there and just clean up.
Yeah, well, you can't. I mean, I used to go. One of my good girlfriends, Patricia, she does the Vouv Classic polo. I think that's what it's called. Because she reps Vouv, and I used to go every year, and it was so much fun in California. And yes, it was a great place to meet.
What's the vibe
problem
like?
is,
tell me about a polo match. What are the cars like when you pull up?
So we always did. We did a party bus, and I would show up annihilated. I mean, there was no reason, but because Patricia has access, like we had bottles of everything. It wasn't like once you get in, obviously, there's like we had bottles and all that. But on the bus over, we also had those same expensive bottles. And so I don't know. I really would show up doing the 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I mean, I barely remember the polo matches, and I went to all of them. I went every year.
Okay, so 10 people get on a party bus. What are the chances that no one vomits?
Well,
I put him at 100. I get carsick, period. Much less drinking on a school bus.
So I'll put up pictures because I have tons of pictures from the last one we did. Well, you see, you're imagining like a shitty bus. This is like not that.
Wait, thank you for putting that last little dagger just as the knife has already like kind of pierced my heart. You go, you're expecting something shitty. This is not that. It was like, oh.
Not only do you not seem like the person who's been to a polo match, but also the bus is not like a school bus.
No, I know they got stripper poles in them and stuff, right?
Totally.
Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't bother you, like the moving around of the bus? Like,
it doesn't.
Wow.
But I think, it doesn't bother me. And I think like if you're someone that gets carsick, because there's so many, like it's a big area that makes like a whole you could sit, you don't have to, you could sit like you do in a normal car, like facing front, or you could sit facing sideways if you don't care.
Yeah,
like
I don't want to be facing front in a party bus.
Well, you're in the back
next to the teacher, the driver.
You're taking shotgun.
Yeah. I got the first watch up here. You guys do some blow back there. Have fun. You can sit up front and face forward. Hey there, little weak stomach. You having fun? Don't look at me. Eyes on the road, buddy.
No, I mean like in the way back, the last row, like the U of the U part. Well, anyways, no one got sick. No one threw up. But
Wow.
I wish I had better. I just remember there were a lot of hills in this the place where it was. I gotta look it up. It's in California and it's maybe like an hour from LA, but everything is an hour from LA. I remember there being a lot of hills, and like I would wear heels, and you have to remember to wear like the proper shoes, like a wedge, so that you're not like sinking into the grass.
Okay.
And then also,
were you in wine country?
I'll look. I forget. I don't remember. I mean, I could probably find out. Anyways, the problem is more that when you're drunk, and then also there's a bunch of hills, it's worse. And I just remember seeing people like tumble down. That was like pretty common.
I could just see you sitting your niece down and having a very serious conversation. Listen, when you're drunk and wearing heels and they're hills, be careful.
Yeah. Okay. I'm pulling up pictures. Why? I think I was too young or whatever. These are like,
Too
I mean,
young.
not too young. Too.
It's not what I want to hear before you show me pictures.
No, no, because so it was the Polo Classic, but because it was years ago, I didn't tag locations, but like you can see how like,
Okay.
I mean,
Let me just describe this for
yeah, you can
everybody.
scroll.
Corinne just handed me her camera, and it's a picture of her in a beautiful, like, I don't know, lime dress with a nice handbag, and she is toasting with a guy that looks like he would be on the mascot on the side of a football helmet for
beautiful.
white dudes.
Yeah.
Like he's
an out and proud gay man.
He is a beautiful man.
I know.
He is wearing suspenders and like a non-ironic bow tie and sunglasses. It's just there. It's been said a million times, but why? What do you think it is that men that identify as straight don't clean up that well? It's not even a stereotype.
It's not.
It's
true.
a fact that I've observed over 45 years.
I mean,
I don't understand that.
He also like never has a hair out of place. His teeth are always perfectly white. Here's a picture, a little bit of the bus, and as you said, there are 2 poles. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, there are, for accuracy, 2 poles. This is as we're talking about just like men cleaning up. You know what? One thing that I have noticed, and I'm sure you've noticed it too, just being a person that like studies pop culture and you're around entertainment, you're an entertainer, et cetera, is that men are the things that are advertised to us and used by us would have never flown. Like 10 years ago, there was like I saw that one of the new Gillette razors has an exfoliating bar attached to it.
I just get triggered by razors.
Yeah, you should. I'm at the barber shop and there are dudes getting their hair dyed, getting their eyebrows done. It's so interesting that like 10 years ago it was called like metrosexual, but that was just a whack term. But now I just think men, because I remember when I started doing the show every day and putting makeup on, I'm like, why don't men do this? You look way better, dog. And so now I'm starting to see dudes not only reaching out to me, being like, how do I moisturize? Like literally, I have homies.
Yeah.
Because like men,
well,
it's this thing where like you're taught that you don't, but you're like, I want my skin to feel good. I want.
True.
Yeah, I want to feel. I want to look nice.
I would never date somebody that dyes. Well, it's okay if you're doing like just for men, like the getting rid of the grays, I guess. But like, I'm interested. My number one thing is like nice teeth, right? You should spend all the money to fix your teeth.
It's a big deal. Your teeth are a lot.
That's it. But like, I'm a fan of a shaved head. I don't like hair gel and coiffing, and like, I really like more rugged men. So, I don't know. I've been on dates with guys. I went on a date with a guy. Oh God, he had so much money. He was
not even such a nice guy.
No, he had so much fucking money. He's a member of the Jonathan Club, which is a private club in Los Angeles, which is very lesser known than the Soho House. And Jonathan Club, it's $40,000 a year membership.
Oh, is that
and
all?
You have to spend. And you have to spend something insane per quarter. Like the spend you have to do is like, I don't know, $30,000 a quarter or something. And so you're in for like $200,000 a year. And he was.
What's happening at this club?
Well, he only took me once because we went on a date. We met. I don't remember how we met. We went on a handful of dates. We went on. We met and he took me we had floor seats at a Lakers game. That was a nice date. I approved.
There you go.
But all the while I was looking at his hair and I just felt like, I don't think he's naturally this blonde. Like I think, and he had long hair, which I really don't like. Not super long, but long-ish. And I just was like, this motherfucker, it looks like he has highlights. I couldn't stop. So we went to the Jonathan Club and we went for Sunday brunch, which if anyone out there has been to the Jonathan Club, I am no expert. But when I went, the fucking brunch, so the Jonathan Club is on the beach. And the brunch is like the waves are crashing and it's the craziest. It's just lobster tails, like a huge thing on a buffet. Like I didn't know what to do. I'm not somebody that goes to buffets in general, but like I've definitely been on cruise ships where my mother's like, you do not eat the bread. Like there's a strategy. Right. I was like, I wanted to call my mom. I needed to call for like backup. Like there's lobster tail, there's caviar. It's the sickest like Wagyu beef.
It's how you would describe heaven. Because what would you turn it? It would be me looking at the beach with lobster tails for days. Like you were literally in most people's version of heaven. Straight up.
Yes. Oh, and there was, king crab. It just everything. Okay, so while we're at brunch, I'm like, I just can't get off the hair thing. So I've already casually asked a few times. Like,
wait, so brunch, this is the next day.
This is no, so this was a separate. So I went out with him, I think a total of maybe 3 or 4 times, but I know this is the last time, and this is why. So this, I don't know if I had stayed there or not, but I know I was dolled the fuck up. So it's not like I rolled out of bed and was like, "You want to get brunch?" No, this was like a thing. So he gives me like a tour. There's the Jonathan Club has one floor that's just for men that no women can go into. That's for shaving and barber stuff.
Is all that stuff in quotes?
Yeah, it's a lot of cocaine.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Wow.
I don't know. So
I'm sure.
My assumption is like it can't possibly be that women aren't allowed because they're just shaving. Like that's probably not a thing. And I know the Jonathan Club has one in downtown and one on the beach. So this was the one at the beach. Okay, so we're sitting there having brunch, and I should have starved myself for a week leading up to this. I did not expect this, and so I'm at brunch and having a mimosa, and I'm like, I don't understand how your hair is naturally that color. And fucking puts both his knife and fork down, and he's like, "It's not. Are you happy? I get my hair done." And I was like, "I think we're done here." And so,
and he wasn't joking. He was mad.
Yeah, he was mad. Like I had unlocked a secret that like he didn't want anyone to know, and I'm like, "It looks obvious, dude. Nobody has like stripes in their hair like that. Like it was too obvious."
But and I hated it. Because you were so obsessed with this hair color. Had your conversation dropped off and you were just staring at it?
Yes.
Because I'm sure you felt it.
I think primarily I was just talking to the highlights like the whole time, every day we went on. But like, yeah, and he was like 6'7". He was very tall. Yeah, and I blew the whole thing apart because I can't date someone who's going in regularly. I mean, we talked about the guy with the toupee. It's not acceptable. Just shave your fucking head.
But shaving your head for men is a big deal because everybody knows once you make the appearance, like I am appearing to the world and my friends as a bald man, there's really no way that you can go back without it being totally obvious. Because no one's going to be like, "Oh, you grew all your hair back all the way around. Good for you." Whereas like even if it's patching up a little bit, you might be able to slowly fill it in to the point where people are like, "Oh, I like your," you wouldn't. But when that's like getting a face tattoo. Once you go completely bald, you're that for you can't really come back.
But I'm saying this man had a nice head of hair and he's doing all this nonsense coloring it. Like I don't need. You don't.
Why didn't you say that to him?
He was really, really, really angry with me. Like it was silence on the car ride home. I remember he
oh, that's why.
Yeah.
He was really mad.
He had given me, this is years ago, he had given me an aux cord because I don't remember what the hell I was doing prior to that, but like I had like no ability. Oh, I think I had my phone playing music out of my phone. I don't know. And then he repoed the aux cord.
No.
Yes, he did. And he was like, I don't want to see you anymore. And he was really like, I don't remember his exact, I just know he was super, super angry, and there was no turning this ship around.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like, now that you know, get out.
But I wonder what that's linked to. It's got to be something more than just, because I would just think when you had that kind of money, you're obviously you're living a great lifestyle, floor seats at the Lakers. That's not just about your hair. You'd be like somebody like Danny DeVito would be like, "Oh, I'm short.
He was deeply disturbed.
But like, yeah, there's the fact that you can't acknowledge like one flaw in you without flying off the handle is a different. Mm-hmm. That's a different animal.
I'll do you one better. After this like blow up, and then we did not speak again. About 6 months later, he sends me a picture from the seats he has
of the aux cord, just in the chair next to him
at the Lakers game, and he's like, "Hey, I see, like, it must have been," so Richard was still in the league, so Richard was playing, he's like, I can see Richard from where I am, like, should I tell him you say hi? I was like, motherfucker, what are you doing right now? What is you doing? Because you know what he was trying to do is be like, oh, like, I know you know Richard, and I'm, like, really close to the court, and so, like, maybe I can get, like, a shout out. I was like, oh, I would not scream my name out to Richard if I were you. He's not going to react well.
He knows.
He knows. Yeah. But I was like, the audacity. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a, I don't know. Because you know me, I'm always trying to, I never want to be like a hypocrite. So I'm thinking, is there anything like that where I would go? I think if the better the joke is, the funnier I'll think it is. Like, I don't understand how you could take yourself that seriously as an adult. When you're in high school and you're like, this is my fake personality I have for a summer. I get it. You have to be hyper or whatever is going through your life at that time. But when you're in your 40s and you're still sweating stuff, it's like, man, at this point, I'm like, dude, say what you, as long as it's funny, I'm here for it.
So to make matters worse, and I'll tell everyone listening, this is before I had the podcast with Max, who's actually coming to visit me this weekend. So this is not something I reported on my previous podcast. This is prior to that. And I'm saying this for a reason. So because he had these like I thought they looked like stripes in his hair. That's why they were so obvious to me. Like it didn't look like a natural color pattern. And I don't know why you would do that. I found a Muppet who looked just like him. And then I did a side by side. And then I serviced that photo like to I put it on Facebook.
No, you did not. No.
I was like,
what was the caption underneath it?
I'll find the photo. I don't remember.
I can't believe you did that.
I did.
I can't believe.
This Muppet had like streaks just like him. It's not like a known Muppet. I had to like search it out. Yeah. Oh, I sent it to everyone.
I just, I'm sure half the listeners would be like, yo, that's what I do. But half of them are like, anytime like I split from somebody, and it's interesting because obviously I had a rough split last time where I was robbed, but I just never want to do anything to give a path to reentry. So I'm always like, we break up and they're like, I want my AUX code back. Here's 2. Never.
Yeah.
Please get away from me.
I don't be robbed of your dignity.
No, yeah, and it's just like for me, I think being a stand-up comic and touring the world really for 15, 18 years, I've met so many people. I realize that people aren't capable of incredibly good and bad things, and if you pick the wrong one, that you get the wrong person that fixates on you. It could be. I've seen it could be really, really, really bad. So I'm always just like, let's end this. It's cool. I'm sorry. Whatever. Go, please go. Like I don't want any kind of mix up, dust up. I don't want any of that shit.
Well, I think I know. Speaking for myself, I didn't give a shit if we ever spoke. I was not like super. He had a lot of money. That was very nice. And the Jonathan Club would have been a really nice place to like set roots. That'd be great. And
you could, how long until you're kicked out for trying to get on the all men's floor? Yeah, like because your curiosity be like, there's a fire escape. I can just get up there.
I mean, he told me, and he's not the first person. I had like an ex that used to schlep me to golfing all the time, and like everyone has to be like, so there's an attire. Like, please don't come dressed like a hoe. And so, like, at the Jonathan Club, like, I was told, like, your dress needs to hit your knee. Like, it was not, like, he was not trying to.
Was this in 1958 you went there? You drinking a milkshake out of 2 straws? Boo.
Any place with, men's exclusive full floor is probably that kind of place. But I did not do it to get back at him at all. I did it because the whole time I was dating him, I'm like, he looks like a goddamn Muppet. This is a ridiculous situation. And then I finally was like, it's too funny not to share.
Yeah.
And then I shared it on Facebook.
And think about how much joy you brought to people by doing that.
I'm sure I did.
You are appreciated.
My best friend Matt and I cried laughing over this. I mean, I still send it to him sometimes now.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. Mm-hmm. And you just know that like that couldn't have gone anywhere because once you have that thought in your head that he looks like a Muppet, whether you guys are being intimate or you're looking across saying, I do, no matter how great he is, how many poems he writes, no matter what, you think he looks like a Muppet and you cannot continue on with that relationship. It's burned into you.
Here's what would have saved it. You want to know the only thing that this would have made this work?
10 million in your account?
Oh, that actually, then there's 2 things.
Okay. Yeah.
Nope. If he agreed to go for Halloween as the Muppet, if he leaned all the way in, I would have been like, all right.
Then it would have been sexy to be like, hey, you my Muppet, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come over here. Get with this Grover.
Right.
Yeah, see? Now y'all are both Muppets.
Yes.
There we go.
Well, so we're on the subject of dating. Should we do some banger buys?
You don't even have to ask that. It's my favorite game. I really do. I don't know. I just love it so much.
Well, it's an organically good game. Okay, let me get to my banger buy file. I want to say that I have gotten a lot of really positive feedback about this game, so I'm really hoping this takes off.
As you should.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Okay, we're gonna start with our first contestant. So I'm just gonna say the name because it's not a real name. I don't like people that they don't use their real name on the dating app because they have like an identity thing. So they'll say I mean, well, I'll give you this example because you know what? Actually, this guy has a point because now I'm reading it on a podcast. And so
they're they don't want to be blown up on a
Right.
podcast. So anyway,
okay. So I get
Ryan
this,
O'Neill says,
well, here's the thing. His name on Tinder, is this Tinder or Bumble? Tinder. Okay, his name on Tinder is North of America. You see what I'm saying?
yeah. Okay.
He's already out on this guy. It gets way worse. So North of America sends me a message, and the message says, in this photo, and he's referencing my Christmas card photo, which is one of the photos I must use on this, one of the 19 apps I'm on. In this photo, 4 of the things I like most in the world are happening at the same time. I'll lose it when I send this, but thank you. Smiley face. And then he signed it North of America, which, by the way, you didn't need to do that. Okay, I don't know. If you have a guess, I'll let you look at this message. What are the 4 things? What does he lose? What in God's name is he talking about?
I have to. Okay, because I didn't understand it. So in this photo.
Yeah, I know. I don't either. I read it like 4 times.
I like most in the world are happening at the same time. I'll lose it when I send this, but thank you. 4, like, if it was something like.
Titties, ass.
I was thinking him being corny, like, almost how people say the addiction to gambling, like with roulette, is the spinning of the ball, not whether you hit it or not, just the anticipation. True? Yeah.
Ooh.
That's what compulsive gamblers, they're addicted to the feeling of not knowing.
Oh my God, I never knew that.
That's how you know you're a compulsive gambler, if whether you win or lose doesn't have any bearing. You don't care.
I think that might be why I have always hated gambling. Always.
Yeah.
I had an ex take me to Atlantic City and give me $1,000, and then I asked if I could just keep it.
Because you because you don't get a high from that.
We took a limo at 4 a.m. straight from a club to Atlantic City because I was like, but it's $1,000. I'd rather just the $1,000 makes me happy.
Yeah.
Why would I want? Why?
I want to give this to a person that's smoking in front of a roulette table. Yeah. So anyway, I make that analogy to say I thought he was saying the feeling of not knowing if you'll respond is almost better than like once I send it off, like it's out of my control. But for right now. I'm reaching.
Okay.
Like right now, I have the anticipation of maybe you loving me back.
And you're going to be so curious because this message makes no sense that it's going to lure you in. I mean, it didn't do that. Mostly, I mean, that's not the problem. I didn't even get to, let's go through
That's not the problem?
Nope.
Okay.
That's part of the problem. But I went to his bio. Okay. First of all, I hate bios that are riddled with emojis. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. So he starts out and he says...
Wait, let me see how many emojis just really quickly. But
it's the type of emojis he used.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Okay, I don't even know where to begin because if I'm... Okay. So the first emoji is a no smoking sign. Then there's a no sign and a beer and a no and a marijuana leaf. So he doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, and he doesn't smoke weed. So he sounds like a fucking real fun time.
Yeah, especially north of America.
I got 3 things I require.
Sober in the woods. Come on out.
I mean, you didn't write no pills. Am I to assume maybe you have an opioid addiction I can get on board with? So then he says 5.9.5. Like 5 foot 9.5. Like, okay, all right. Okay, that's cute. Then he writes thinning hair. What are we doing here? Then, this is the best. Strong Jewish. And then he has a schnoz. He put a nose emoji. And then please read what is next to that.
It says no Nazis, which
with the emojis.
And it just a please and then the kind of smiley face where it's like, I just farted. Like that kind of like, oh, I'm so embarrassed to say that. Sorry if I made this awkward. No Nazis. What a weird thing. What isn't no Nazis assumed on most dating profiles?
Well, I was scared when I read this. I'm like, as a Jew, I'm like, oh, do I have to say, if I don't say it, am I like,
that would explain my inbox.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's cool if you have a swastika tattoo. Just hit me up.
Yeah.
Then he writes.
Even Nazis know that. I'm sure there are Nazi dating websites because they're like, we're not getting any play on Bumble, as we shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. So then he writes, okay, and I hate all this stuff. Embodied consent. Cuddly dom streak. I hate a word salad. I don't understand. He then writes playful giving, open to depth and desire, big spoon emoji, for wise, filthy goddess, comma, intensity, smiley face. And then, if that's not enough details, I get another no smoking sign and then
Crack.
no, and then the word all, and then an ice cream cone. So he's trying to say he's lactose intolerant. I got news for you. I appreciate your honesty, North of America. I don't think we need to know this level. First of all, why are you putting like, I get gas if I have a glass of milk next to Dom consent.
Dom consenting cuddler, which is just, that is quite a fetish. And I mean, I always say find the most niche pocket and get in there. And my man has done that.
And then more emoji.
There's more.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
He then writes, I don't know what this means, taboos/shadows. It must be a Dom thing. I never understand that stuff. Oh, this is under I heart. Sorry, there's so many emojis. So I heart emoji, taboos/shadows, and then a double face. And then Musk, green check mark. He's into Musk. You're Musk. And then he writes
that
in
means
parentheses.
A shower every 3 days if you're lucky. If we're going to visit your parents. Yeah, that's just
in parentheses
gross.
Next to Musk, he wrote, Al?
Not a boob guy, and then a winky face.
What is happening
but
here?
Why but the winky face is for either, I'm being, is he being sarcastic?
Are you kidding? Yeah.
Or he's just like, or is he misusing the emoji, which 60% of the population does with everyone? Because that winking emoji is kind of saying, don't keep me out too late. I don't want to get too drunk. Right. Winky face. But then that doesn't apply to being a boob guy.
No.
Okay.
Okay,
Corinne,
I hate him. Okay. Yeah. Right? And lastly, my number one favorite, reason to swipe left, vinyl. This is under I love. I DJ real disco, house, and techno.
Okay. You're so cool.
I hate him.
That's
a strong buy for me.
Yeah, and that's going to be... obviously, it's a buy, but it goes to a deeper thing, and I think this could potentially be a spinoff for us, Corinne. I am issuing a challenge to anybody listening to write a thoughtful, coherent write-up to what he just said.
Yeah, well,
to us, explain it in almost clinical terms, what he was trying to communicate in normal human speak, because what that was a man who has explored a lot of, it looks like a lot of he's clicked on a lot of categories on porn, but he's also clicked on a lot of sex positive sites as well. Yeah. So he's got those words in there, like, consent and embodiment it's a word salad of just like, I'm a safe guy, please come. I really think he just wants to cuddle. I think he wants to cuddle somebody.
I think English second language, or he does not. How does he speak in real life if he can't? Does he hold up his phone with the emoji? It doesn't feel like he can talk normally.
Are you shocked that somebody on Bumble doesn't communicate well? Because I'm not.
Well, to be fair, this is Tinder, and I think it's so much worse on Tinder. I found no luck whatsoever there. Good news, though, I did figure out how to get my ass off of Facebook dating finally. That was a shit show.
I don't know if I'm happy about that.
I mean, here's a Facebook dating message that I put in the banger buy game, but there was no reason. This is all this George 36. And this is the problem with Facebook dating. Anyone can message you. You don't have to like them back. Anyone.
I didn't know that.
Yes, that's the problem. I was getting 500 messages a day from people as far as Cheyenne, Wyoming. What is happening? And they were like ages all over the place. I could not figure out how to work it. So this gentleman just wrote this, and this is what most of the messages look like. I should probably turn it back on just for, please read.
Okay. And it just, it's not that long. Sit on my face, please. No comma, no period.
Nope. Sit on my face, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what was going on in Facebook dating.
Wait, here's a question for you now.
Did I go sit on his face?
No. Whose message do you think would get more interaction, that or the north of America's?
Ooh.
It's going out to 100 random women.
Shit, I don't know. Because there are, I'm on Are We Dating the Same Guy? There are girls that are looking for casual.
Yes.
And they might bite at that. The North of America is just nonsensical gibberish, and I don't know.
But are you telling me there are people don't speak like that, Corinne? People that you would never hang with them. You don't know them, but you and I both know that there are people that are just instead of you telling me, I had the super hot day, this guy, I want to rip his clothes off. It's like, Al, I met this guy. We both signed consent forms, and then we both agreed to go to a neutral location. And look, I'm not making fun of you being safer or whatever, but I'm just saying there are people that live in that world too. And he had enough buzzwords in his word salad where it's just like, you pick the parts that you like, okay, he likes a fierce woman, and he's embodies safety or whatever he says he does.
I have musk.
Yeah, some women be like, I like a musky this is Colorado, like a musky dude straight off the hedge or whatever people come from.
Well, I'm curious.
So wait, I want a percentage.
Sorry,
I want a percentage. What?
Oh,
out of 100 women, who gets more play? Even if it's 51-49.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to go with sit on my face, please, is going to get
That's what I was thinking.
Better play than... Well, the other problem is why... this is what I was going to ask you. Oh, you know what? I do know why his name is North of America.
Why?
Because one of the emojis he put up was a Canadian flag.
Okay.
This loser. This fucking Canadian loser.
Yeah.
And I like Canadians.
Yeah, and isn't Canada still North America? I mean, I guess it is North of America, but okay.
Also, was
semantics.
Canadian Bachelor taken? Like, if you're just going to make your name anything, I don't know why you went with North of America. That's very confusing.
Yeah, and Canadian Bachelor, if you could get that would make you, like, pretty sought after.
Yeah.
Then you could just put #1 Canadian Bachelor. Yeah. Like, put that in your profile and get verified.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yo, your swipes will go up just out of sheer competition.
Yeah. Okay, we have a second candidate here. This game today is a little rough because I really did not get any good ones.
I love this game. I love it.
Okay, and actually God, I love it when like a transition works properly. So this guy, if you took sit on my face, please, and you made that into a full bio, it's this guy. So this is what this
gross mathematics with Corinne.
Yeah.
Teaching English as a second language. Okay, so sit on my face equals
right.
2 not a boobs guy.
Right. Exactly. Okay, so this is a guy named Cameron, not the previous Cameron we talked about. And he says, under his about me, he wrote, I'm looking for a good time. I am not looking for anything longer than a night, and I would prefer not to know your name or you to know mine. I'm looking to use Tinder for what it is originally intended for. I'm into being a bit more rough than vanilla, and you should be into that. Pulling hair, silk scarves bind your hands, tapping my manhood on your cheeks as you kneel. I am not going to marry anyone. I'm not going to go on dates. I would like to know, is that not a perfect transition? That guy is saying.
Scary.
Yeah. But like, again, percentage of girls that are like.
I think a lot of women would be into that because a lot of women, not a lot.
Yeah, let's not overstate.
Let's not be crazy here. Yeah. I think he more than you would think just because he's leaning into the dominant personality. And if everything is a spectrum where some people want softer, cuddlier guy that likes to play the banjo and listen to poetry. That's cool, wonderful, have a good life. But there's some women that are like, I want you to take my hair and spin me. I think there is that. It's a balance, and I mean, he's going to get the extreme end of that spectrum.
Here's the problem with every single guy that has a profile like that, like the I don't want you to know my name, I don't want to know yours.
They're hitmen.
Well, it's probably not a safe scenario. No, not that. They never have photos. All their photos are just 2 hands bound together, or they don't want to give out their identity. So I'm going to sign up to just hook up with you. I don't even know what you look like. Who cares about all the other stuff? You have no visual to go with this.
Right. And I assume that once your hands are bound, they're not going to care if you care what they look like.
At this point, I hope you do blindfold me.
I mean, it's scary to even think about, but anonymous sex is still a thing, and especially sex in which you probably can't bring that person home to mama. Mm-hmm. I think that's why if you have proclivities towards that kind of personality type in a sexual situation, I think that's the kind of person, a woman that lives a prim and proper, oh, yeah, I'm a CEO at Chase or whatever, and then they just go see that scumbag who makes $36,000 a year.
Right,
and
he's doing HVAC work.
His place just his place smells like old wet towels. Like there's a stack of wet towels in every corner, but there's not. But she goes over there because like that is the ultimate shift of the power dynamic. And I think a lot of people that are powerful in their real life do not want that in the bedroom. And it's weird. he's extreme, but I think if you dialed that down too, you would increase it'd be a lot of people that'd be into that. What about Corinne?
I mean, I'm not no, God no, I'm not into that. I've never been like, I am strictly interested in someone that's gonna wine and dine me, and like we're gonna go on dates, and like there's no. I mean, first of all, I don't know why you need an app for this. Just go to the fucking Mon Chalet, or like, I'm a girl. I can just go to the neighborhood bar and wait it out. There's going to be some guy there. I mean, I don't need an app for this.
Right.
Like, I understand he does.
But
I'm a woman. I don't.
Don't you need an app if you have
anonymous?
Extreme furry bondage. If you're in, I'm assuming if you're into bondage, you have to. I have a joke about BDSM, but just like you have to have some know-how about how to do a knot and not do it too tight. Like it seems like
there's actually
you do kind of want.
Right.
It's a lot of ropes, dog.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to do this with the guy at the local bar because he's 14 Bud Lights in trying to do this.
Leaving hickeys everywhere.
Yeah, like I think like when you do get into ropes play and spanking and all that kind of stuff, from all the sex podcasts I listen to, there's like communities where people are almost rated like, oh, he's a good dom, he's very this, because it's you're super. You don't think about it, but like you're super vulnerable. Like once your hands are behind your back, dude.
Yeah.
Like unless it's your wife or something, like you are. I mean, somebody could. Here's your fifth grade teacher. Like you could really jack somebody up to it.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm concerned. I think that like it's only really comfortable for me in the scenario of like the woman is the dom. When the man is the dom, I'm like, ugh, that feels a little. Ugh. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not kink shaming. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I did want to review. I have two more things for Bang or Buy. One is I went on an actual date with somebody. And I'm going to tell you how that went.
By the way, you sounded like Pretty Woman when you said that. I went on an actual date. Guess who didn't pull his Johnson out at the stoplight? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go. Tell me about your actual date.
So I matched with this guy, and I mean, I thought, he was cute in the pictures, and he kept trying to take it off the app, like, and I don't exchange numbers anymore at all, period, until we meet in person, because I would like to be able to just leave the situation if I want to. I'm always concerned about scammers, like, taking my phone. Like, my phone number is sacred. I've had it since I was in college, so it's, like, not a thing I give out. So I was like, look, I'm not willing to give you my phone number, but if you have any trepidations about, like, who I am or whatever, I have a verified Instagram account, and I'm happy to message you from that. And then you can, you can message me directly on there. Like,
you can message me back on your unverified account.
Yeah. So
if you want to take it there, buddy.
He follows me, but I don't notice it's him because, much like North of America, is some stupid name, and his pictures are all the art that he does. Yeah. I wish you guys could see the eye roll. And it is, I hope he doesn't listen to this. It's
May I speak while you get your words beneath you like a little baby calf? I will say this in your defense, Coco. I love you. And this is a shout out to all artists. I follow artists on Instagram. I'm not hating. Trust me. I've been in the arts for 18, 20 years. Just pictures of your paintings. That ain't it, Chief.
No,
and it's not, and because especially with a painting, you need perspective and kind of like to be in the room with it, or like have some idea of like what they were going for. Because if it's just red splotches on top of blue ones and then streak of green, and they're like, "What do you think about that, Corinne?" You're like, "I don't." Okay, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. But if it's your work thing, I get it.
They are like sketches like you did in art class in 7th grade.
Yes.
It's rough stuff, man.
Yeah, and
his actual headlining picture, I was like, I didn't know it was him because the name is weird, and the head, like the whatever you call the picture.
The name is extremely weird. You're not tripping. Yeah. The name is extremely, extremely. I would think that was a spam.
Okay, so.
Okay, and wait, when was that posted? Okay, now look, we don't kink shame on this podcast. Mm-hmm. We don't sex shame on this podcast.
We do art shame.
We will like shame because The number of likes that I saw in the last
Oh,
two pictures
yeah.
that you showed me would honestly make me think this is no shade. Honestly, I'm telling you, if you're listening, bro, it looks like an account that somebody just made because they're making it's an undercover account made by a weird guy posing as a cop or something. It's very strange to have that few likes on any picture of any kind. I don't care if you just take a picture and it says Denver, the place to be. Like, you're going to get like 11 likes.
You'll at least get the spam. Put it on Denver community. You know, like the spam we were getting on our Instagram.
I don't even think the spam bots pick
most
that
of
up.
it is like what you maybe would make if you were shitty at it at one of those sip and paints. Like, they're really okay. So now that I've dogged his artwork, but his main profile picture is the lead singer of Radiohead. So like, I really did not know this was him. So when he messaged me, I like didn't notice it. I obviously did not identify this was him. So it was like weeks before I actually met him, but like seemed like a nice guy, and he was a very nice person.
Yes.
We go on the date, and ahead of the date, because he had been on my Instagram, he's like, "You're going to be the first famous person I've ever gone out with." I was like, "Oh, never stop saying that. I'm super flattered. Like, that's great. I don't have any problems with that." But like, obviously, I'm not a real famous person, and like it's jokey on my part. So when we get to,
no, you're famous.
I mean, you can Google me.
You're famous. It's I think that there's levels to fame, but yeah, you're famous.
Thank you.
Yes, big facts.
Thank you. So he asks me. I was like, so the first thing I always do is I tell them where I live. I ask where they live, and then I ask where they'd like to meet. And nothing will make me turn down a date faster than if you pick the city you live in and not where I live. This guy picked in between, which is not my favorite thing either. Like, you're already getting in your car. He's in Lakewood. I'm in Denver. Like, just come to like Lohi. Like, where like now I'm giving. But should I give my actual address now?
I was about to
Jesus
say,
Christ.
geez, yeah.
But
you know, the red building with the polka dots, the one I'm in front of at 6 a.m. every morning with my headphones on.
So I was like, all right. So we end up meeting at this brewery that's in between us. But I'm like, whatever. At this point, I'm really like, I'm trying to meet somebody I can date. He seemed like a nice guy. So I get to the place. It's a brewery. They do not have food. There's a food truck out front. There's no food. It's a Sunday at 6 p.m. So I now know we ain't eating anything because that's the way it is. That's fine. Okay. I don't care. It's not great, but I'm like, whatever. When I get there first, and I get like a seat at the bar, and I save a seat for him, and I waited on him because the reality is I don't drink beer. I'll do it socially, especially because I don't drink and drive. So I knew this is very safe because I'll have 3 sips of this beer and be done. Like, I don't like beer. But I figure whatever, I'll get to know him. Maybe he's like amazing. He comes in, he presents like his pictures, nice looking, all the things. Sits down, and I had waited on him because I was like, listen, I know nothing about beer. There's a ton of options.
Good conversation starter.
Yeah. And I want him to feel like I'll help you. You know, and he goes, yeah, I don't really like beer either. And I was like, why are we sitting at this goddamn brewery?
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop. No.
So now I'm like, okay. So I pick out some like coffee stout, something or other that, again, I'm going to have 2 sips of. And then the bartender is like, okay, do you want to start a tab? And he looks at me and he goes, do you want to split it? Ow. A beer is $6. I now have to, this poor wench has to put my credit card and my ID on file and his credit card and his ID for 2 lousy beers. Mm-hmm. It was at that point that I was like, yeah, this has to end. Well, I sit there. Thank you, Al. Would you like to give your thoughts on, because I can't be, look, I'm not saying you need to take me to Uchi for,
no, you don't have to.
Omakase.
You don't have to defend that, dog.
Thank you.
Look,
Thank you so much.
I know it doesn't make me a good podcast partner to sit next to you with my face in my hands as you're talking, making you carry the show, but when you say things like that, I can't respond because the whackness gets inside of me, and I'm battling in my head, what were the series of steps that led you to this? What was the series of steps where you go, okay, I just matched with a famous person. That's really dope.
Right.
Even if you weren't famous, I'd be like, I just matched with a really attractive person. That's really dope. So what is your first thing that you do? My first thought is, let me go somewhere where it seems like I have a little bit of sway, even if it's your local bar where everybody's like, ow, or whatever, or like, yo, I got this Thai spot. Every woman that I take there falls into my arms. Whatever it is, you go. You're playing your full house that first. Yeah, you're throwing. Here's all my chips, literally, and not literally. And so, for his first thought to be like, how about a brewery? I don't like beer, and I know nothing about it.
That I've never been to.
And I've never been there. I'm gonna be okay. I got it. I'm gonna be late.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be late, and then I'm gonna sidle up to her, and immediately admit. First of all, it's the thought. I don't want to show up to a date and admit that I don't know something. It's a weird sign of weakness. You might as well make a little pee on the floor. Yeah. Like, it's just such a like, hey, where are the bathrooms? Like, no, I'm like, hey, no, a man is here. I got this. I got you. You're good. And there's no gender attached. I'm just saying, like, when anybody that's in my presence, like, I'm paying for dinner. I'm paying for drinks. I'm old school with it. And so, like, I cannot, walk me through the steps of why he would do that.
I don't know. But
and then can't pay.
Well, I don't know if it was like independent lady thing. Like, I'm going to let her pay for her own. But like, I got news for you. There's absolutely no way I go on a second date with anybody that does that, because that is a terrible opener. So like, now we look years down the road and it's just, we split in everything all the time, always. And
I don't think that. I think it's slowly, it starts to be more you, like, oh,
your name's on the lease.
Baby, there's a hole in this couch. Mm-hmm. What are we going to do? I don't know. Yeah. What are we going to do, Mr. Out of Work Drummer or whatever he is?
Yes. So as I'm talking to him, I had compassion. He was a very nice person. And as for longtime listeners, as you know, I say,
I don't give
nice
that.
Is not a personality trait, it's a compensating mechanism. He was a bit insecure. I don't know why. He's a nice looking guy, but I read that immediately in him. So I felt badly. And so I'm talking to him and he's asking me a shit ton of questions about Survivor, which I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind answering. It's just, I don't have a lot to say. Like, the questions normal people that don't watch Survivor ask are very annoying. And all of you that are listening that actually watch Survivor, you're not going to say, like, the first thing anyone asks me that has never seen the show, first they go, oh, you were on Survivor? I've never seen it. Okay, let's end the conversation.
That's the equivalent to, do you remember your Aunt B?
Yeah.
Well,
nice to bring it back. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So then the fucking next question always is, was it fun? Always. 100% of the time. And I'm like, how do you answer that? So I usually say the same thing. I'm like, there's two experiences. One is actually being out there, and the other is watching yourself back on TV. Actually being out there, no, it's not fun. Watching yourself on TV can be very fun. That's usually how I respond, and I try and leave it at that. But he was asking questions, but he's asking questions from a place of not knowing anything about how the show works. Like, we shoot on location. There are tribes. You get voted out. Like, the most basic shit. He doesn't know because he doesn't watch it. So I'm just like, all right, I can't with this. So I'm just trying to round the corner. And then he says to me, I just can't believe I'm sitting with a famous. He just keeps saying that. And I was like, I mean, I love that you're treating me like I treated Liam Neeson, but it's just not an accurate thing. And no one else at this very crowded brewery has even noticed me. It's not like I'm,
It's so funny because he's like, I can't believe, I thought you'd be getting swarmed by now. You're like, yeah, it's doesn't air in this part of the county.
Yeah, like, should I have brought headshots to sign? Like, this is just a bizarre encounter. And so he's like, he goes, I don't know what keeps happening, but I never get second dates.
Remember what I said about making a little pee on the floor?
Yeah.
That's a little submission pee.
Then he says, and I know I shouldn't say that, but I really hope we have a second date. And I am, motherfucker, I'm spinning in my head because he is a lovely person, and I know for sure there's no way. And I know my friend Franny would say, just be honest, just be upfront, just go, hey, I wasn't really feeling a spark. And I wanted so badly to do that, but he was so sad. And I just couldn't I just couldn't do it. So now at this point, I still have not given him my number, and he has not asked, because obviously you don't ask a famous person.
Oh, you guys are on a date. Yes. You should have just really played the fame thing. You're like, I want to give you my number, but it goes straight. It's got to go through a call service at Hollywood, and Hollywood doesn't like to give our number out. So also, call NBC Studios.
You're being punked. I mean, he just kept being like, I can't believe I'm on a date with you. And then he tells me he never gets second dates. And so I sat in there for 2 hours, taking 3 sips of this stupid stout beer that I ordered. When we leave, he offers to walk me to my car. He's a gentleman. Again, sweet. A real gentleman would have picked up the tab for both of us, but nevertheless, I get in my car. I'm like, all right, you know what? I gave him 2 hours of my time, and I helped him. Oh, how about this is your sign the date isn't going well. So I said to him, I go, look, so he has the artwork I showed you, 2 of those pictures okay, 2 of them are 2 pictures he burned on the dating app to use. You know how you get like 6 pictures? 2 of them are his shitty artwork. So I said to him, I go, I'm going to be honest with you. He goes, then he says, I don't get that many matches. And I'm like, what is happening? He's a nice looking guy. All his hair, nice teeth, tall, has a great job, has like an MBA. I'm like, okay, part of the problem is that you have your weird artwork on your page. And like, it just feels like, how do you not have enough pictures? How do you not have 6 pictures you can use? And he's like,
it's out of context unless you're having doggy style sex at a Hampton Inn. That's the kind of artwork that you be staring at.
That is perfect. Alice so mad right now.
I'm so mad.
So
a stupid tree.
Yeah. Well, so I said to him, I go, I think you have, you're photogenic. I could take some pictures of you. So I took some pictures. Yeah, in portrait mode, I was like, now hold the beer up, now put the beer down. I took his new profile pictures. I was like, I feel so bad for this guy. Okay.
It's like a campsite. You leave it in better shape than you found it.
Of course.
There we go.
Rule. So I leave this date and I'm just like, God, this is going to be an awful, but I know he's only reaching out to me on Instagram. So he messages me the next morning and he's like, hi. So I watched 4 episodes of your first season of Survivor. And I'm like, oh God, oh my God, how are we still doing this? And he's like, and then he picks out, this is a really, really fun turn of events. This poor guy who can't obviously get it right. He watches my first season. He watches a bunch of episodes. And then he picks out a guy who, by the way, is a very insignificant part of the show in general. He didn't have a huge impact. But for whatever reason, he points out Dan, for those of you who know season from Gabon. Most people forgot.
I'm sure Dan appreciates that shout out.
Well, let me get to that.
Okay.
So you're not going to like where this goes. So Dan, who I actually very much liked in real life, he was somewhat annoying on the show, but whatever. So for some reason, he pulls Dan out of all of the 18 contestants. He goes, Dan is really annoying. I don't know how you put up with him. And I just wrote back politely. I said, yes, on the show, everybody has phases on the show. I said, off the show, he's actually great. And then I just don't say anything else. And then another day goes by and he's like, oh my God, I just Googled Dan died. How did Dan die? And I was like, we're going to end that here. That's why you don't go and watch somebody's season from 2018 or what the fuck, 2016, whatever the hell I did that. Do you like that or do you like that? This poor fool. And I got to tell you, over time, very few survivors have passed. And he picked
the one.
He picked the one.
You know what he strikes me as, Coco? He strikes me as a dude that never had a woman in his life. Not a big sister, a homegirl, like that you just got them together in that parking lot, hold the beer, put it, that's why I always say, I said it to this one kid one time, I was doing a show in Chicago, and it was real interesting. It was cool. It was a really interesting conversation I had with him. He was, my shows especially in Chicago, 50-50, not 33-33, it's a really mixed crowd.
Okay. You mean race?
Race-wise, yeah. And so I've always kind of wanted that. I just want people to get me, know? And there was a table of black women. There was a really cool thing. It was an older white stepdad with his 2 sons. One was 17, one was 15. They were about to go to college. The oldest one was going to go to college. And I was like, yo, your dad took you to go see a black comic on a Friday night in Chicago at 15 years old. That's a good sign. Mm-hmm. I was like, you're going to see the world and understand. You're not going to listen to the internet. The blacks are coming. You know, you're going to be like, stop. And so I was talking with him and he was like, I was like, you going to college? And he was like, I don't know, man. I don't know what I want to do yet. And he seemed like a good kid. And I was like, you know what you should do? You should go to a black college. I told this young, because I was like, just from interacting with him, he had personality. He was kind of reserved, and I was like, you can go to any college and have a typical college experience, go to Arizona State and drink your face off and get laid a bunch. But I was like, bro, if you go to a black college, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be around black women, and black women will get you together so quickly in terms of the honesty that a lot of people think is it's not mean. It's that honesty keeps you from making those mistakes that he made on that date. Yeah. Honesty would be he would tell his homegirl what he did on that date, and she would be like, okay, we're going to go back up there and we're going to reenact this, and I'll show you what you should have done.
Yeah.
And she will be like, first of all, your outfit is ridiculous. Look, you wore those shoes when we cut the grass yesterday. What are you doing? No, we're going to go get those shoes. No, right? I don't care if you have to go to work, because there's an urgency that needs to be approached with somebody that needs a complete makeover to have a good partner in their life. And I'm telling you, even though it comes off as jokes and sometimes my feelings would be hurt, all the things that people said to me, like, I internalized that and fixed it.
Yeah.
Because, like, your good friends will just be like, yo, dude, the crop top, the deep V for you, bro, that's not, you don't have the pecs for that. And you're like, man, I thought I've been doing push-ups. Yeah, that's not for you. Maybe next summer, but, like, you need honesty. Otherwise, you get that.
I mean, it was very, he also, I should say, he mentioned he had an ex-girlfriend, and he was like, I really loved her. She didn't love me, and I couldn't make her love me. And I was like, okay, that's like
It's the
not
beginning
a
of a
first
George
date.
Michael song.
It's not a first date conversation. Yeah, so that poor fool. You made me think of this, which I haven't thought about in years. I had a neighbor growing up who was like this, we call it nebisha. It's a Yiddish word, like Jewish guy, like really not attractive. And
Wait, what's the word again?
nebisha?
A nebisha.
Nebisha. I think it's spelled Nebiche, like nebisha.
I kind of like Yiddish words.
Yeah, Yiddish words are the
I like
best.
the word kavitz.
Yeah.
Is that when you're
Kvelling?
sweating? No, when you're sweating.
Schwitzing.
Schwitzing. Yeah, schwitzing. I like
Schwitzing.
that.
Yeah, I'm schwitzing from here to high heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were schwitzing at the doctor's
I
office last
sure
episode.
was.
Yeah, it's okay.
Which, by the way, TikTok, I mean, we only have 6 weeks, so we're about 4 weeks out from me seeing my future husband
and
again.
you know what, though? You're looking good. You go in there like, hey, guess who's not sweating?
Yeah. Guess who powdered her body head to toe?
Keep that deli paper.
Yeah. So this guy that I grew up with, he was a little older than me. He made the decision that we thought was odd at the time, just because he was like kid picked last for dodgeball, like really not attractive, or I mean, scrawny, short, all the things. And everyone, is picking where they're going to school. And he went to Howard. And I was like, I bet he's doing all right now.
I bet you he is.
I bet you he is.
Because
it was an odd decision.
You know what him going to Howard is? It's like you get the key to the city. Mm-hmm. He has the key to open any conversation with anybody he wants, because that is something that even more than Harvard,
Yes.
that is going to, it's such a unique experience. People will be like, what was that like? First of all, they're going to ask like, are you okay? But like, honestly, what it was like was he's around a totally different culture. He can look at it as an insider and an outsider, take the stuff he likes, don't leave the stuff he doesn't, and like be a heightened human being when he leaves there. Cause he's got this, you're in Chocolate City.
Yeah.
And you like learn how to like interact and flow in that city, and with the culture and the dress and the intellect and the thoughts that are coming out of that university. Who is going to top you in a conversation?
I love standing out in a crowd, and like that's the easiest way to do that. Like, I don't know what percentage of Jewish white students they have at Howard, but it's under one.
And you would be so great at Howard too, because
he ended up becoming a dentist. I bet you he's got tons of swagger now.
It's a real thing. It's
I love this. Hey, write into us if you are thinking about taking this advice.
I was talking to my homeboy Josh. I do a radio show. I actually did this morning. It's called the Bob and Tom Show. Shout out. They've been putting your boy in the air for years, and and they retweet our stuff, and we just love them. And there's one of the co-hosts on there, my homie Josh. I was kind of messing around like a couple years ago. We were talking. I was like, dude, he's like, he like straight, he's Indianapolis, and he looks the part, beard, long beard, black and gray, some gray hairs in there, lumberjack, but he pulls women, and like women like him, and he's like, when you saw him, be like, oh, it's just a kind of chubby white dude, but he's got swagger. And I was like, you either grew up around black folks or something. And he was like, I worked at a call center for a long time. And I was like, yeah, you because there's a comfort level that anybody that's not black has around black people that you can only get with time, that you can only get after you shed all of the stereotypes and crap that's embedded in you. Like, they're gonna steal your wheels. So it's like, there's 3 guys in here drinking coffee, but it takes you a second to unlearn all that, I'm assuming. And once you do, like, you understand, like, oh, this is why the whole world is attracted to black culture, because there's a vibe and an energy and a pace at which people talk. And he's still the same dude, but like when you meet him, like when you meet his girls and things like that, it's like, oh, there's something intangible about knowing that you can handle yourself wherever you are and you can make friends and people like you for you wherever you are. It's a big deal. This dude needs like an older sister or like a version of you that has time to fix this. And
so we're gonna.
I don't know.
I'm
it just
sorry.
can't work.
I think we're gonna go 3 for 3. Bye, like the Backstreet Boys say.
Do you remember?
Bye.
We're around the same age, so I hope I'm not dating myself. But they used to sell.
I'm 27.
Yes, exactly. They used to sell. There was a black dude that sold a choreography tape, and he was the choreographer to the stars. And
yes,
he'd be like, "We're gonna show you how to do all the background moves of." What was it? Old Town and Backstreet Boys, and
it wasn't Billy Blanks, but it was somebody.
Billy Blanks was the punching.
Yes,
thing.
but he was.
The only thing I remember about this infomercial was like they were showing like the cutaways of the Backstreet Boys and whatever the other big group was, and
NSYNC.
Yeah, NSYNC.
Otherwise known as the Fashionably Loud episode I was on. Yes.
And so then it stops, and then there's a black dude, and he just goes, "I'll show you how to hit all the moves," and he steps back into it, and he goes, "Ain't no lie, bye." Like he showed you how he's gonna break the moves down. So if somebody can find that, I will be.
Oh, it's all over TikTok because I just sent it to my friend Kira because she loves bye. Yeah, so this was not a successful bang or buy game. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna save the other one I have for next week because I like to keep it to 3, and I want to hear from you. I'm gonna open this up with something that someone wrote into the patron page because I thought this was an interesting. I have the same take on it as I did on this previous email. So she's referencing the podcast where we talked about Lil Susie Vert.
Which I hope...
and the plumber, remember?
Yeah, of course I remember Susie and the plumber, and he was joking, and he was like kind of flirting and then kind of like ghosting. Like,
yeah,
no.
I mean, he's telling her he's going to see her after Thanksgiving, and then like he's like, no, thank you, no, thank you.
But
like,
he did the work and didn't charge her much.
Like this nonsense. So she said, I had something similar. A guy I have matched with on multiple dating sites over multiple years. He would always initiate conversations, talking multiple times throughout the day for several days. Then each time we would set up a date, and the day of the date, he would ghost me. I wouldn't hear from him for over a year until we matched again. He was cute enough. I was willing to give him another shot each time. But after it happened last year for the 3rd time, I've drawn the line. Still makes no sense to me. Corinne, do you have any theories on what was going on in his head? And I am going to let you go first.
Well, you had a theory a while back about people that get off.
That's true.
On this, and
I stand by that.
That has forever. It's like when you hear somebody say something and they just explain. Because for me, I'm like, who would do? Because I'm not wired like that. Mm-hmm. But when you said that, I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Most things are about them. It's not about you. Even when you get ghosted or something. So like, this makes perfect sense. So Corinne, break down your theory.
Yeah,
I would just be stealing from you.
It is 100% a dopamine hit for them to match with you, to get you to the point where you'd agree to go on a date, and then to back off, and then to reel you back in. That's all it is, and you will never see this person in person. And if I were you, I would cut this shit out. I don't have the exact same scenario, but I have a scenario. So I'm going to give you sort of a viewpoint into looking at what it would look like if you actually got to the end of the road. Like you met this person and you went on dates. So I went out with a guy. The first time we hung out was before I moved to Denver. And he actually, I don't know, one of my best friends, Erica, I shared my location with her. And I was like, look, I'm going to his house for wine, and he's like a chef and he's going to make dinner. And she's like, that's not cool. Don't do that. And I was like, nah, it's fine. So I go to his house, and he has a grand piano. He's playing the grand piano when I walk in.
That's what Hannibal Lecter would do.
Extremely. And he had a fucking cat and like a cat tree. And I was like, I'm out. The cat thing that's not my jam. I hate cats. I hate people who like cats. Like, I'm sorry if you have a cat. Nathan, I know you love cats. Max, my old podcast partner, it's fucking weird. It's just weird. I don't do cats. So in any case, I sat down. He had made from scratch this like hummus that was like mind blowing. He ended up starting a food truck like based on hummus. Wow. But anyways, we have this date, and like he pours me red wine, and like I end up like really liking him. And then I'm moving to Denver. This is before I moved here, but I'm moving to Denver, and then I don't know, he disappears. I kind of forget about him. Then I'm on dating apps once I live in Denver. We match again. We go out again. This time we go to a nice restaurant. he tells me he quit his job to help the homeless. I'm like, Jesus, I forgot the cat problem. And the cat died. I'm sorry. I asked him in the messages, is that cat still fucking around? And he's like, no, Louis died. And I was like, okay, yeah, we can meet. And then he tells me he left like a highfalutin job he goes, well, you know, my passion is cooking. So now I am cooking at a homeless shelter. I was like, yo, they eat anything. I don't think you have to be like a Michelin chef. I could cook for them, and all I can do is microwave a fucking lean cuisine, right?
I think that would affect the budget a little bit. Yeah.
So again, second time we go out, I am like, you know, but he's not really interacting with me either. Like, it seems like we're both ghosting each other. The third time we match again on the apps.
Different app.
Same app, but it's years have gone by. This is now 5 years later. I have been, like, every 2 years basically got on a date with him. So this is last Christmas, and he's like, hey, I'd really like to, like, I'd like to see you again. Like, let's try this again. I was like, what are you doing? This obviously isn't gonna work. And I thought, well, he's like, look, you know, I'm doing nothing for Christmas break. Like, let me take you for a drink. Let's catch up at least. So I was like, you know, whatever. I don't have anything else going on. That's fine. So we go, we have drinks. After drinks, he's like, you know, I don't feel like I've ever given you a massage. And like, I purposely, like, the drinks were like 1 block from my house. I'm like, all right, let's have a drink at this place near my house. And
I love you for that.
We go back to my house, and afterwards, and he's a safe guy. I mean, obviously, like, I'm not worried about him. And he's like, I don't think I've ever given you a massage. I'm really good at giving massages. He's like, did you know that I was a yoga teacher? I was like, fucking every time this guy, first date cat, second date homeless shelter chef, third date yoga instructor. Why can't you just be like a normal, like, he's checking all the wrong things. Yeah. Gives me this massage that I swear to God was like the greatest massage I've ever had.
Are
like,
you serious?
It was so good that I was like, do you want to come upstairs? And he's like, because we were on my main floor and my bedroom is upstairs. And I was like, look, if this is any indication.
Wait, you got a first floor massage?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That's like what you would do with a professional.
Yeah. He put
keep the front door open.
He put a pillow between me and him. Like, he was very professional about it. And by the way, when he told me he was a yoga teacher, I was like, how many students did you fuck? And he's like, what? That's so unprofessional. I was like, that's not the answer to the question.
Yeah, but it sounds like this guy might have held off.
So he says to me, he goes, I will happily come upstairs and I would stay over, but I will not have sex with you. And I was like, okay, whatever, fine. So he stays over, which is useless. Anyways, the next morning.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
You guys got in the bed?
Yeah.
What were you wearing? What was he wearing?
I was completely naked. He was in his boxers. Nothing happened.
Okay, so did you do the rollover leg over his leg?
Sure did. I did all the things. I was actually at that point, like, I was getting kind of aggressive.
You were like Biff at the end of Back to the Future.
Yeah. I was just like, why would you waste my time? This is disruptive to my sleep. I thought he was just being facetious. I didn't think like he really wasn't gonna, but he was like, no. Now, to make matters worse, now this is what I'm saying. So I got to the end of the rainbow. Like, you guys who are trying to get these dates with these guys, this guy was very evasive and ghosting, kept seeing me and then not seeing me for a year, like bullshit. Similar pattern, right? So he actually texts me the next morning. He's like, I had a really great time with you, whatever. 3 days later, I get this text. And we're like, you know, joking back and forth. And like, now we've known each other for a few years, not well, but he says, hey, I want to let you know that I reconnected with someone from my past and we clicked on a lot of the quirky things about me. I'm not really comfortable going on another date with you because I want to be honest and loyal to this person. I enjoyed seeing you and catching up and I genuinely do like you. I apologize if I hurt your feelings in any way. Dating is so difficult. How do you think I responded, Al?
Unsubscribe.
Close. I just thumbs up it.
Oh, I love it.
Because I felt like the other guy was a piece of shit. Like, he ghosted me for a month. This guy is like trying, but I'm like, don't do the right thing. I didn't need any of it. I preferred you ghosting. And now for the kicker, ladies and gentlemen. This week, I matched with him again.
Stop it. No, you did not.
Yeah. Okay. And I was thinking I was just going to be like, hey, douchebag. But I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But so these people that circle the drain like this. So this guy, who, by the way, should have just dated us both. Who would have known the difference? Everyone's doing that. Why'd you get rid of me in favor of this girl when, a week later that didn't work out, you know?
Because the only way he can feel joy is by doing what he's doing. Because there's also guys like this, and I've been a guy like this, not to this level, but, you know, I can make my resume look really good if I want to, especially to somebody that's not in the business. And what you want to do is you want to show them glimpses of you that they fall in love with, but never all of you, because you know there's something broken. So you just have a little like, oh, yeah, that was on my 30-minute special when I taped that in New York City. Anyway, how's your mom? And like you can like, but when people go into like, you didn't put an album out for 3 years. Why? Well, I was drinking my face off. But like most people don't want to get that. So like when people start to get to those questions about, you know, why do you have 2 DUIs? They're gone again.
Yeah.
All they get is like
the superficial,
the imagination of every woman, the guy that they think I want a guy that cooks and loves the homeless and feeds the ducks. But it's like going to Disney World for a week.
Yeah.
One day, okay, but it's exhausting after 7 days of magic. I don't want that. I want to see a 7-Eleven.
Right.
And this guy, do you know how exhausting it would be, Corinne, if you did get with this cornball dude, and when you're just like, it's you know, it's Tuesday, getting ready to go get my massage. She's like, baby, I quit my job. We're gonna raise baby chicks.
Yeah,
they're coming in from Costa Rica. We're rescuing them. It's like then Wednesday. It's we're gonna open a tow shop for battered women, where we're gonna we're gonna repair their cars for free. It's like every day he wants to be this fake superhuman to avoid his real day-to-day issues.
He also went on this tangent, which I wish I should call my friend Michelle, because when I told her this, she's like a hardcore feminist, and like she really like. She was like, why did you not kick him out? I was like, you don't understand this massage. He went on and on about, so he opened with women shouldn't work. And I was like, yeah, fucking preach.
And then it went to vote. No, I'm just kidding.
And then, you did. It went quickly down the hole of like, women are inferior. Women aren't as smart. Women shouldn't be doctors.
How much time do you have? I haven't gotten to the blacks yet.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And then he told me he's really religious, and I said, "Oh, that's fine. I don't care. I'm not. But like, I didn't even know you went to church." He goes, "Oh, you don't have to go to church to be religious. I read the Bible on my own time." And I was like, that's a creative way to say, like, what do you mean? If you're really religious, shouldn't you go worship with the professional? Like,
that's
I don't get it.
The definition of somebody that's really religious. And as somebody that grew up in a family where there are people that went to church on Wednesdays and Mondays, bingo, and Sunday aftercare, and Sunday school teachers, it's like super disrespectful to people that really do their whole life is wrapped around the church. I would bake sales and lock-ins and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's its own enclosed community.
He's the equivalent of a guy that went to prison and started reading the Bible because there's no other literature, and
something to distract from the beatings.
Yeah.
It's super whack, and that's why like. You notice it backs up my theory, because as soon as you ask him one question underneath the surface, it falls apart very quickly, because I'm sure he's a good masseuse and a good chef. Those are skills that you can acquire over the course of a lifetime, and those are great skills to have. But your facade falls apart when people start to ask questions, because you're too busy playing, bullshit Tinder games to actually develop a personality and have like an interesting thought. So you just have to have these like skills, and then you disappear like a fart in the wind at the end. Like, oh yeah, he was so great. Where'd he go? And he loves that like vapor trail of greatness he leaves behind. You're super whack, dude. I'll pull the covers off you. You're super whack.
Yeah.
Dog.
Fuck you, Doug.
All right.
Anyways, okay. My safe word is more advice@gmail.com. What do we have today?
I will get it right now. I don't know. Oh, I dropped my phone and then okay. Before we do that, I wanted to read you a few things. And I promised last week, because, I'm an attentive person. Last week, we talked briefly, last episode.
2 weeks ago.
Last episode, yeah. 2 weeks ago. Yes. Okay, yes. So 2 weeks ago.
we would like you to know how the sausage is made here.
Yes. Well, we always want to have be at least one episode ahead.
So,
yes.
So he's referring to.
Yeah. So I'm referring to saying that when I first moved to Denver, I didn't understand the area.
Yes.
And I thought Aurora, Colorado sounded like a place where rich people live. So when I moved here, I moved here last second from LA when I accepted the talk show gig. And so I needed to buy furniture. I didn't own anything. So I needed to stay in one of those like weekly hotel unit things.
And as you referenced it, which was just brilliant. transitional.
Yes. And these, yes. Okay.
It's
So
one of my favorite things you've ever said.
brief synopsis. Yes. I said it was like one of those places where you're transitioning from living in a house to living in your car.
That's right.
That's it. It really is. And when I get there, I think I told you, I got there like 7:30 and like it's just dark, like it's Christmas morning and there's no one.
Right.
And the woman didn't want to check me in. And there was a guy that was passed out in front of the elevator and it smelled like
someone
weed.
doing the meth tuck in
And
the parking
just
lot. Yeah.
the grossest thing ever. So remember, I said that without looking at these reviews.
Yes.
And these are fairly recent. I haven't looked at these.
So they haven't improved conditions.
No, and I haven't. Oh, you know what's so interesting? They definitely did a total remake of the rooms. So everybody's like new. I think like as of like this last month.
New
so I think
rooms, same sleaze bags.
The same sleaze bags. So it's so interesting. All the reviews start. Rooms look great, and I'm like, is this the same place? And then here is what the reviews are. I'll read a couple of them, but some of them are short and sweet.
Okay.
But just remember everything I said. Okay, so this is from Richard from the United States of America. He says, the check-in procedure is a 2-stage thing that is not made clear upon arrival. What? I was given a room key. I assumed that's what it was. Check-in all done, but the office is closed at 7 p.m. So I checked in after 6, and I thought I had been approved to do so. By the time they realized that I was there and I had checked myself in, they threw me literally into the street. The staff was intransigent and rude in my view. I also find it ridiculous that such a facility does not have a 24-hour.
Of course.
Yes.
What? I mean, forget redoing your rooms. Just get a staff member that, I mean, by the way, okay, maybe not 24 hours. Let's say 11 p.m., but like 7?
So I'm telling
Planes
you.
get in later than that.
And it's just like me going, am I crazy? You know, because it's like the sun is still out. Like, what are you doing? So, okay, here's just some shorter ones. This one just says, gathering outside of guests, smoking and drinking. So I guess that was just in real time. This one says, this from Andrea.
Sounds like a fun time.
There were shady looking people hanging around outside. There were barking dogs, no hangers, no ironing board, no utensils. There was a distinct smell of marijuana, which made me sick to my stomach.
Wait. I don't know why.
There's just weed and meth.
But of everything you just read, the worst thing that you just read to me that like I personally like will not, a barking dog. Like that is when you're allowing dogs into the hotel, or maybe they're in the cars out front, or there's just the homeless with the dogs, like it's dogs. That's just a gross establishment. I don't want to hear barking dogs.
I'm telling you, there were people that literally I can't explain to you that this was like not even what you would call homeless people. Like, remember like hobos from the 1930s? Like passed out men in the hallway, babies in diapers, dogs. This is not a joke. This one just says, the maintenance man keeps following us around and hating because we have 3 cars in the lot. Kind of creepy. Some of the guests stink and need to shower. So this is the kind of place that I stayed in for 3 days, so I got a place.
I truly hope this is where your ex-fiance lives currently.
I thought about her.
She's there with your sauna and
God, yeah, just trying to selling it for $40. Oh man. Yeah.
This is what I wish on my worst enemy. This is my new thing.
Yeah.
In fact, if people come to visit and I don't want them to stay with me and I also don't like them, I'm going to suggest this establishment.
Don't even suggest it. Just say, I got your room. Just say.
I wonder, it's got to be like $63 a night. It's going to be nothing.
It's like 70, but it's like, it's like, I think it's like 70, but with 80, they take the deposit and everything. It comes out to like 9. I think you can get it for probably $60-$70 probably.
So they're trying to work with a 2-stage check-in process with people who started meth in 8th grade. This is not, you need to uncomplicate things.
Open meth use. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you except that I hope my ex is staying there.
I hope so too. Okay, well, we will close out. We have time for one email.
Yes.
And Give me one.
This email comes in from, I'll call him AP.
Okay.
And first of all, thanks for writing in. AP says, hey, beauties. Love your new podcast and your chemistry.
Yay.
Do you have any advice for someone who is newly hot or attractive? Interesting. For most of my 20s, I was horribly bullied and treated disgustingly for my looks.
In your 20s?
Yeah, a lot of the attacks were about how fat I was.
What?
Boo. They weren't necessarily wrong. Yes, they were. But it was still soul crushing and destroyed my self-esteem. And I'm a firm believer that if you are fat once, you're fat for the rest of your life. It's not just a physique; it's a mindset. All right, that's something Billy Blanks would say. I've noticed in my 30s, I've gotten into somewhat better shape and take better care of myself and grew into my looks. I do get better looking men. All right, leveling up.
Yeah.
But it's still really difficult for me to accept that given the harsh, life-ruining bullying that I had in my early adult life. That sucks. It sucks. So,
I know, but I'm so confused as to, like, usually that type of, like, what fucking over 20-year-old person is going to scream, like, hey, fatso? Like, what? That's like a middle school thing. That's so crazy.
Yeah, but, sometimes you don't have the friends you want. It's kind of the friends you have, depending on where you live. You know what I'm saying? Let's say you lived in a town 1/200th the size of this one. How many women your age are there? So you're going to end up hanging with people you don't want to hang. And I think that's just like sometimes you're just like, they kind of got a point. You could still see he's a little beat up from this, like where he's like, it shows you your reaction and my reaction. And he's like, well, they were kind of right.
How do you know it's a boy? Oh, you can see the name.
Yes.
I was thinking it was a girl.
No.
I see. Okay, yeah, men are a little different. I guess they could be like razzle you.
Right. And so it's always under the guise of like, hey, we're buddies, but I've definitely had dudes that try
you
to
fat piece of shit.
Yeah, the level under hey, you fat piece of shit is guys that you are cool with 98% of the time. But anytime there are girls around or somebody that you want to impress, like it's like if me and you were hanging out, and then they go, look at Corinne's fucking tights, and you're like, yo, you never said anything like you. When there are people that try to play you in front of the opposite sex,
I know, and that's that is the lowest, like whatever you would like the worst form of comedy. Like it's the easy low hanging fruit. Like I hate people that use that.
Yeah, and just like the fact that you're so disloyal that you'll side with them over me over a comment that you brought up. Like I told him not to wear shorts at this event. I mean, come on. And it's like, yo, you're like I drove you here. Like I thought I know your mom, dog.
Like you couldn't think of anything else to say, so you attacked me. It's
super weird and super whack. But let me finish up his email. Appreciate you writing in, bro. He says, but it's really difficult for me to accept that given the harsh, life-ruining bullying I had in my early adult life. So I usually sabotage my relationships with really great, handsome guys out of fear and insecurity. Beyond suggesting therapy, which doesn't work for me.
I don't suggest therapy ever. That will never come out of my mouth.
I don't either.
Unless BetterHelp wants to sponsor.
Yes, or Talkspace. Hey, guys.
But I personally don't believe in therapy.
What advice would you... Okay, so let's see if we got better advice than they do.
Yeah.
What advice do you have to move beyond the being ugly mindset?
Man.
Because that's a real thing. It's a real thing he's talking about. And I've seen it a couple times. And while you think, I'll just say this. I've seen it happen with two women that I knew where, they were already probably naturally curvy. And then they kind of lost that little bit of baby weight. Again, I say this not to get off as somebody that likes baby weight. I like my women, whatever. So, hey, I'm here. And again, we're never acknowledged. It's always like the fat shamers. I'm like, what about the people that like curvy chicks?
Yeah.
We don't get any props. But like I've seen this happen with women, and they've talked to me about it. And it does take time. And I know that sounds terrible, but like just realizing that you have value, no matter how you look, dog. I don't care if you're in a wheelchair. You can come kick with me and Corinne. We don't care. Are we friends or are we not? And if we're friends, then no matter what you look like, I'm going to support you. There's nothing Corinne could do where I wouldn't have her back. Even if I had to yell at her behind door, like that you were crazy wrong for that, I'm going to always have your back because I feel like we're friends. And I feel like people throw that word around. So just understand, dude, those are not your friends. Those are not your friends. Say it while you listen to this podcast. Those are not your friends. We're your friends. Yeah. And no joke aside, find your real friends and they'll build you up.
Okay. I have a really strong take on this that I think you're going to like. I want to put things in perspective for you. The worst situation you could be in is that you were hot and you peaked in your early 20s, and now you've taken a nosedive. And that is, I have, unfortunately, I have friends, male and female, gay and straight, that like just aren't aging well. And like
we will list their names here.
Yeah. I have like some LA gays that like were just top of the charts, and it's hard to hang on to that forever. Not calling anyone out specifically, obviously, but I want to say to you that you are so fucking lucky to be the opposite of that, because someone like you who's been through hard times and is now figuring out how to fall, in love with themselves in the respect of like, not in that stupid self-care way, but like in the idea of like, oh, these people were assholes. I didn't realize when I was in my 20s. Like, you're doing simultaneously like figuring yourself out and getting your own self-confidence that doesn't rely on what other people are saying about you, but also you're looking better. And that person has a fighting chance at having a successful relationship, at being relaunched into the atmosphere, at like dating better people and having better success. The person that doesn't is the person that was super hot, fell off, can't come to terms with that, only loved themselves because they were hot, because of the attention they were getting from, the guys or girls that they were interested in. And now that has dried up, and that is depressing and awful and a tailspin that ends up, I think, really wreaking havoc. You are in like the most beautiful section of this.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
This is actually amazing, and you should be so excited and embrace this new lifestyle and embrace all of the things. And I swear to God, stay out of a therapist's office. That's just
yes, because
idiotic.
They're not going to tell you what Corinne tells us and what I tell you guys, just when we're not even addressing an issue like this, but when we talk about ourselves. Corinne, you'll say something like, the guy will be like, I'm sorry I was 2 hours late. And you're like, no, deal breaker. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm dating somebody, but I still want to date you. Unsubscribe. Corinne has standards for how she wants to be treated. I have standards for how I want to be treated. I remember I was on when I was still on the dating sites, I matched with this woman, and she was like, I'm coming into town and, blah, 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 I want to meet you. And I was like, at that point, I was fresh off the robbery. So I was like, I don't want anything serious at all.
And you're not going to know where I live.
Yeah, and her pictures look good, good enough. And, she was like, I'm in town for the weekend or whatever. Let's hang out. So I was like, cool. So she's supposed to call me at like 4. She calls me at 7.
Nope.
FaceTiming me. No. I didn't even know who it was because I forgot. Because after like 4:30, I was like, drag to the trash icon on your. I was like, I was moved on with life.
Sure.
So I'm like, who is this? It might be my mom or like my son calling from a weird number. So I FaceTime, and it's not even her. It's her and her friend in the back of like a car service, God. And it wasn't even like a good car service. It was like a Uber pool, and she's like, it was her friend who's like, so are you gonna take my girl out or what? Like this
no.
Corinne, I had to grab your wrist because I was like, yo, I need to. I was like, I cannot believe the temerity that you have right now to do this. And she just like, yeah, I'm staying out near the airport, so it's like 7:00, so. I know you're in Denver, so like I don't know the area, but like, can you be here by like 8:00? I was like, I absolutely cannot do that, and just hung the phone up. I was in, I could not. She was just kind of like, not only am I calling you 3 hours late, and not only do I not look like my pictures,
and I'm also making a joke out of this. Like, I'm treating you like shit. Like, my friend is going to come on and say, that is all crazy.
Yeah, she had an opening act for her FaceTime with me. Yeah. Like, and her friend, who was not a model, I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah. We're not look shaming here, but whoa. And you're going to
facing camera back at Uber, not your best look.
Yeah, and like you're kind of judging me like, so are you going to take my friend out or what? And I'm like, I couldn't even. It's like when everybody says like, oh, if they had said that to me, I would have said this. And then, but when somebody is so out of line that you can't, you almost feel shame for them.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, but I'd say all that to say, I have standards. And Corinne has standards. And that's why even though our relationships might not work out, nobody can walk away from us saying, yo, I played them. Even the situation with my ex that stole my stuff, I can walk away with my head held high. Like, yo, I held up my end of the bargain. Yeah. So I can't control another human being. Dude, you hold up your end of the bargain by making sure that you're accountable to you. And don't let anybody talk crazy to you, bro. Why is somebody better than you?
Yeah,
Please.
and I think, like, if you're looking at the self-confidence factor when you're going on dates, like he's saying basically like, I feel better about myself and I'm going on dates with better looking men, but I still feel like a term I suppose is probably canceled by now, but I used it on my first season of Survivor, a former fatty, then like you live with this like, oh, imposter syndrome, right? Sort of thing. I think that all that is, again, it's not therapy, it's practice. It's going on lots of dates. It's finding that groove and really feeling like this is not a fleeting moment in your life. This is your life.
Right.
This isn't like it's going to go away next week. Like this is your confidence, like you're building that, and that just takes practice.
Right.
So I am excited for you. I would love to hear in 6 months what this looks like for you.
Stop. That's the best advice, and we're going to leave it at that. This is your life now. Stop looking at the past and high school. It's almost like it happened to somebody else. You understand that you learned from that experience, but no one wants to hear about high school. Everybody's like, yo, what you doing tonight, bro? Apparently you looking good. You going to get that question a lot, dog. So get ready to answer that. What you doing tonight, playa?
Yeah. And one quick thing I will add is that I have on many occasions, because as we all know, like I'm really like, if you're really tall, I'm like, I could give a shit if you were the ugliest kid in your high school. And you lots of those people are gangly and they don't like really come into their own until later in life. And I really, really prefer someone who's hot and doesn't know they're hot. Like that's actually like an amazing quality.
It's really great.
It really is.
It's really, why is that so sexy? I never thought about that.
And I often, like, it's somebody that's ridiculously attractive, and I can tell just by, like, speaking to them that they don't know how hot they are, and that is so fucking sexy. And you're definitely going to exude that whether you mean to or not.
Right.
Right? Like, you're, like, that's definitely going to be happening. So, all good things for you, AP. Like, let's get an update on this.
Standards.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. That was a great question. And with that, we are going to wrap it up. Corinne, land this plane for us.
We love you all. Go to our Instagram, My Safe Word Is More, and please rate and review us. It really helps. And we'll just remind y'all to just keep swimming and...
Okay, we need to work on our out catchphrase because
really
I didn't know what Corinne was. Corinne was looking at me just now like we were two spies at the table and we didn't get our story straight. And the guy has a gun behind both our heads and is like, we're married in Europe, in Russia on vacation. Yeah, like that was a very weird look. So let's do this right now. Okay, I say keep your head above water and
just keep swimming.
There we go. And make sure to read it, with that intensity and that inflection. This should have been coming out of a robot's head. That's it. We love y'all.
Bye, guys.